Hey, it's Adele Wang of SafeHavenHealing.net. And if you're someone who enjoys reading books on leadership, creativity, personal development, and spirituality, well, today is your lucky day because someone recently gave me this book to review. It's called Never Fly Solo, Lead with Courage, Build Trusting Partnerships, and Reach New Heights in Business by Lieutenant Colonel Rob Waldo Waldman. Mr. Waldman is a former Air Force combat fighter pilot. He fought a lot of combat missions in the Middle East, and now he is a motivational speaker. So I just would like to say that I enjoyed this book and I so appreciate Mr. Waldman's contribution in service to this country. This book is an easy read, and I enjoyed his stories about what it takes to become a fighter pilot in the Air Force. Not only does he share his successes, but he's very transparent in sharing where he messed up, and he shares a wingman tip from it. He calls them wingman tips of principles that can be applied to business from what he learned in the Air Force. So his primary message is one focused on teamwork, the importance of people who can check your six, which in the fighter pilot world means people you trust who can check your blind spot. Every fighter pilot has a blind spot where he cannot see, and he's relying on people he trusts to check his six, because sometimes in the heat of battle, it's the only thing that will keep him alive. So I really appreciated his focus on teamwork. This, not surprisingly, Mr. Waldman coming from the military, there is a military flavor to this book. The military is a unique environment. It is very mission driven, not surprisingly, and so it's very focused on a successful mission and getting all resources involved, aligned into the same direction so that everyone can achieve the mission. And that requires responsibilities and roles to be clear. Everyone needs to be motivated to do the right thing, go the extra mile, one for one and one for all. That's lovely. And with having said that, from my years of being in business, I will just say, as much as I enjoyed this book, there's some assumptions that I'm not sure translate into the business world very well. For one thing, the military is a very different environment than business. In business, people rarely have one boss. In the military, it's a very top-down environment. You ask the commanding officer to make something happen, and by golly, he makes it happen by chain of command. That doesn't always work in the business world, especially in today's business environments where oftentimes there are matrix reporting relationships and people have more than one boss. And that means more than one agenda, competing priorities, politics. Not everyone's going to be aligned in the same way. And a lot of times even the goals are not clear. You know, the military is great for when there are clear and specific objectives and goals of the mission. And they practice endlessly. The focus here is a lot on preparation, chair flights, where everyone plans for every possible contingency that can go wrong, so that when you're in the heat of battle, sometimes your chair flights and planning is the only thing that saves your life. That's great. In business, though, I don't know if that would be as doable. If people in business had to sit around and plan for every possible contingency, chances are nothing would get done. And there is a limit to time, resources, and money in business that may not be the same as in military. And a lot of times goals just aren't as clear. The goals in business change because business moves so fast. So, you know, all the planning to get a mission critical done right doesn't always work in business, where things can change on a dime depending on what a competitor did, what the market did. And so some of the skills that are needed in business for successful leadership may be different than what works in the military. Things like being able to be spontaneous, to be able to think on your feet, to improvise, Creativity. You know, the military is great for things where everybody knows what needs to be done and they do them to perfection. And sometimes in business, what's needed is innovation and doing something nobody else has done before. That's not what the military does well. And sometimes to succeed in business, the person who wins is the one who goes out there and tries something new, something that no one else has done before. So, two different environments, two different leadership skills. There is some overlap. Overall, I enjoyed reading this book. It is obvious to me that Mr. Waldman is a man who cares deeply about people. And that goes without saying, applies equally in business as it does in the military. You can't go wrong with caring about people, about their welfare and how they're doing. So it was a good read. It had some interesting points. You may take from it what works for you and do what's right for your organization for the rest. So as usual, if you've enjoyed this clip, share it with your friends, and I'd love to hear from you on Facebook. Until next time, thanks.